Marta, thank you very much. I welcome you all to this quarterly meeting of the ASHB Connected Home Council. And just to remind everyone, the Association for Smarter Homes and Buildings is the new name of the former CABA, Continental Automated Buildings Association. The association decided to update the name, and it's been accepted quite well in the industry. So welcome to ASHB's Connected Home Council. I'm Ken Wax, the chair, and we have a pretty full meeting with a featured speaker today. So let's get on with the program. The Connected Home Council was established in 2004. This council initiates and reviews projects that relate to connected home and multiple dwelling unit technologies and applications. The council also examines industry opportunities that can accelerate the adoption of new technologies, consumer electronics, and broadband services within the burgeoning connected home market. CHC webinars and selected research topics explore industry shaping trends and forces and the use of technology to make connected homes more flexible, adaptable, and human-centric. I'm pleased to announce that we have a new vice chair who has just agreed to join and help me lead the Connected Home Council. Charlie Dirk from LeGrand is a member of the ASHB Board of Directors and is Vice President of Strategy for the LeGrand Building Controls Division. His responsibilities include mergers and acquisitions, as well as focusing on the strategic direction for residential and commercial lighting control products, including WattStopper, Encelium, and Vantage. Charlie has been working with lighting and shading control products for the past 25 years, holding positions in engineering, product management, marketing, and sales at Lutron and Crestron. Charlie has a degree in computer science and is currently based in Eastern Pennsylvania. Charlie, it's a pleasure to welcome you to help lead the Connected Home Council.
Thanks, Ken.
Now we have some administrative business. We had a meeting on July 25th. The minutes have been posted, and we're looking for a formal approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from July 25th?
Motion to approve, Ken.
Thank you, Marta. You've recorded that. And do we have a second for this motion? Just anyone, please speak up. Unless everyone's on mute. So
a second.
Good.
Thank you, Christopher.
So the motion is passed and the minutes are approved. We, in our both the Connected Home Council and the Intelligent Buildings Council, we often have 2 or 3 vice chairs. So we are looking to expand the leadership in the Connected Home Council. Please let us know if any of you on the call would like to be an additional vice chair, and we will set you up. Thank you very much. Marta will now update us on research being conducted by the Connected Home Council.
Thank you, Ken. This is our 2023 landmark research project for the residential area. The title of it is the Smart Home Technology and Market Trends, and it's garnered support from 7 funders. We are still actually looking to have more join. It's still not too late, and we certainly would like to express our gratitude and our sincerest thank yous to the support and guidance of these 7 funders so far. The RFP went out to ASHB member research firms earlier this year, leading to the selection of Harbor Research by the initial funders. And Harbor Research has done quite a few of our landmark research projects in the past. This project is a little bit different from previous years. Instead of a single comprehensive report that is around 100 pages, and is centered on a single topic, we're adopting a bit of a different approach this year. The project is deconstructed into 2 smaller focused research projects. The first topic has been confirmed. It is the smart home market sizing update and adoption curve. And the second topic is currently being discussed, if not already confirmed, but we will find out at our next steering committee meeting exactly what that is. So these 2 topics, they are currently and will be presented in the form of presentations accompanied by raw data, and the project will involve approximately 100 hours of analyst dedication. The research will utilize a consumer survey that will target approximately 500 consumers in North America, specifically Canada and in the US, and will cover key topic opportunities to gain an annual perspective of operator needs and outlook. It's essential to note that these projects, collectively valued at approximately $40,000 US, will have an exclusive release to the project funders. There are 2 distinct funding tiers. Bronze, priced at $5,000, will grant access to the research findings, and the silver level, which is priced at $10,000, will enable participation in the steering committee and in the shaping of the project's direction. For anyone who is interested in learning more, in joining, or if you belong to any one of these organizations and would like to get in contact with the main contact for your organization who is currently on the steering committee, please let us know. As well as if you'd like to join, please let us know as well. You could reach out to Greg Walker at walker@ashby.com, and that is WALKER at ashb.com, and he'll be happy to set up a quick call to go over those details with you. And now with that, I will pass it over to Charlie Dirk, our new Vice Chair, to introduce our keynote speaker for today.
Thanks, Marta. So just a quick description of what we're going to talk about for the next 30 minutes or so. 2022 and 2023 were challenging years, or are challenging for all of those that play in the smart home space. After strong consumer spending on technology drove growth through the pandemic in 2021, it's no surprise that there's market forces today that are causing a very difficult environment. So we have Elizabeth Parks today, President and CMO of Parks Associates, will share the consumer and industry research that they've done in the smart home buyer journey. The presentation will cover trends in smart home device adoption, channel distribution, bundled services, and how consumers view their smart home experience, including the leading brands and product categories. As president, Elizabeth supports all the teams within Parks Associates, a woman and family-owned market research and consulting firm. She oversees research topics and coverage areas for the company and directs the integrated strategic communication plans for Parks Associates, including advertising, PR, and marketing. Elizabeth has supported the growth of Parks Associates business and marketing services for 23 years and is a key organizer for all of their events, including the signature event at Connections at CES coming up in January. She also drives the overall mission to provide clients with the best consumer and industry research and analysis on the SMB and consumer technology markets to inform strategic market decisions. Elizabeth joined Parks Associates on a full-time basis after graduating from the University of Texas at Austin with a BA in psychology. And as Ken mentioned during the introduction, and my background being involved in lighting and shading control for the last 25 years, I've known about Parks Association or Parks Associates and how they've set themselves up as a leader in the industry pretty much my whole career. So welcome, Elizabeth. And I think, Ken, you've got some.
Yes, I'd like to add what Charlie has said. Parks Associates and I both started in the home systems industry at about the same time, a few decades ago. I have focused my management consultancy on the technical and technical marketing side, and have found Parks Associates very complementary working on the marketing analytics. I've been very impressed on the rigor to which Parks Associates subjects their analysis through consumer survey and great insights into market developments that help understand how our industry is evolving. So it's my pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Parks, the President and Chief Marketing Officer of Parks Associates.
Well, thank you all for the warm welcome. I hope you can hear me okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen here and do a screen share. So let me get that going. Can y'all see my screen okay?
It's perfect, Elizabeth. We hear you fine and we see the full screen. Okay,
wonderful. Thanks, Ken. So again, thank you all for the invitation to join. You know, we have participated as a partner of CABA's for my entire career. And so it's very much appreciated to be asked to share some of our research. And also, you know, think it's great that the organization continues to stay focused in on the research coming forward, because we think that's important for understanding the growth of the market. That's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, is the next stages of growth in the smart home based off of some of the research that Parks Associates does in an ongoing manner. So I'm going to highlight some of the transformations that are underway, really driven by the device adoption, the integration of different devices, systems, and then the services that end up stemming from them. I'm going to highlight a little bit about home security systems as a driver for smart home, and certainly a major channel for these products to get distributed to the market. Also energy and the role that that's playing. In the future, we're focused in on, you know, the healthcare market, independent living and wellness, the multifamily space, which are multi-dwelling units, apartments, condos, townhomes, senior living, and student housing. The tier 2 and tier 3 broadband markets, sometimes also referred to in some ways as the rural markets. And then finally, the small to medium business market, which is an area that is important for all the players in the smart home, as a lot of those solutions for the single family home can play very nicely in the SMB markets. So thank you again for that warm welcome. You may recognize Trisha Parks here in this picture. Going back a few years, this is from 1986, highlighting my mom right before she founded Parks Associates. So a lot of what we talk about today, we're still, you know, extending the conversations that she started back in the mid 80s, and what is the impact of computing on our lives. So this integration, infusion of technology into hardware, and that integration, and where the intersection lies between different ecosystems in the home, really has been at the forefront of Parks Associates' vision in the research that we conduct, and how we're helping companies best understand the markets that we cover. So we are across the whole home space. The smart home and security is probably close to half of what we do within the research work. We're producing about 80 studies a year. I just got an update from our team yesterday that we have had 162 deliverables already this year. That's about one deliverable every 2 working days. So we are adamant and constant in our focus in understanding the industry, competition, and players, and then really the heart, the end user, is the consumer, or the small to medium business who's using this technology. Could also be the property manager or the building owner in the multifamily space. If you're not familiar with our work, I'd love to talk with you. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions following the presentation. So let's just get started and talk about where we're at with this big picture play with services. Services really are shaping the future of every environment, whether you're at home or at school or at work, even on the go in your car. So we are tracking, Parks Associates is reporting $340 billion in home service spending across these different areas in the home that we're tracking. We also know from our consumer survey work, and again, we're surveying 8,000 or 10,000 internet households every quarter. We've had that methodology for over a decade. Before that, we did 5,000 households, 2,500, 1,000 internet households, and before that, we did telephone surveys. So we've always had a very consistent trending set of data on the consumer side. And this latest point that the majority of people say it would be very difficult for them to live without internet really is showing this incredible shift that is occurring and impacting people on their day-to-day living and again at work and on the go. This infusion of technology is happening everywhere in energy, home security, broadband, health, and we see this new intersection, these new possibilities and opportunities as a result of these ecosystems overlapping, intertwining with each other, and ultimately providing greater value for that end user or the person who is paying for those services. We also see home builders really starting to add technology into their homes that they're building as a big differentiator. This is an interesting time in the housing market, and of course that impacts consumers' buying choices, their adoption of security systems, and their switching behaviors. So when people move, they tend to switch providers, they tend to upgrade, buy new things for their house, new systems, and I think it's notable here, if you look at what the builders are doing with the most important value-added features in the home, you'll still see that stainless steel and granite at the top, but right behind that, the smart speakers, integrated home systems, security systems, the pre-wiring, the connected lighting, appliances, cameras, thermostats. These are all things that consumers are asking to be put into their homes, and that builders are telling us that these are becoming the most important value-added features. This is really a different environment than it was 5 or 10 years ago even. I'm going to share a little bit of data on device adoption because I think this is important to understand how Parks Associates views the market, which is different from some other research firms out there. Again, we have a proprietary collection of data. That means we own all of our data. We've been collecting it for decades and years. And this trending data that I'm showing that is really throughout all the research work that we do, it has an incredible amount of value in showing what happens over time. And so I love this chart. It shows how we're categorizing connected devices in the home. We have 3 different categories: the mature consumer electronics devices, which includes computers and smart speakers, entertainment devices, routers, televisions. Then there's the connected smart home device category, which is that darker blue middle line in there, and then connected health devices. So we're tracking 3 different categories, approximately 80 different devices across all 3 categories. And it shows there that the average household now has 16 connected devices, which is double of what households had in 2015. This is also one of my favorite charts because it shows much more history in terms of how these devices have been adopted over time. Again, this is Parks Associates research data. The bottom right-hand little cluster of devices is the smart home device category that we're watching very carefully. And to give you a better picture of what we're actually tracking there, you can see here it includes everything from smart light bulbs to door locks, doorbells, thermostats, smart water leak detectors, sprinkler systems, garage door openers, and more. And so our latest data does show that we have 42% of households that own at least one of these devices right now. And I'm going to share a little bit more about who is buying, because that's what makes it very interesting right now. When we're looking at tech affinity, and this is, you know, the definition of consumers in their technology adoption, that middle bar, the early majority, is really what we're seeing and being of interest, in that consumers who fall into this early majority category are starting to be able to really understand the value of smart home devices and what that does for them in their home. And I want to just highlight what we're talking about when we're talking about these types of consumers. And again, this is all coming from Everett Rogers' book from 1962. And this is something that Parks Associates has tracked closely throughout all of our research work we're doing when we understand the buyer journey that consumers are going through. So we've got these innovators. Those are usually the people who go out, run out and buy the brand new thing that's come to market. Then we have the early adopters who might not be as price sensitive. They're easy to sell to, but maybe hard to please. The early majority, this is where we're really zoned in on right now in understanding the next generation of smart home buyers, and that they're understanding the value that's coming with the smart home devices that they can put in there. These people can relate to technology, but are also practical and are looking for that return on investment in different ways than an innovator. We also have the later majority and the laggers. These are the people that really, when we start getting into mass market play, you know, you see these people ending up with these products as well. We're still not there yet, though. It's important to note that while a lot of progress has been made in the past many decades with the smart home, we still only see the highest smart home product adoption is the video doorbell at 20% of all households. So out of the 16 different product categories that Parks Associates tracks, the video doorbell has that highest level of adoption, followed by the camera, the thermostat, the light bulbs, and then the door locks and vacuum cleaners. Again, this is data coming from Parks Associates consumer survey work. We're also tracking that more than 50% of smart home devices are getting bought at retail, whether it's online or in the store. And the remainder are coming through these other channels that we'll highlight here shortly. Also, the number of devices that households have. This is also very important data that we're looking at, and I love our year-over-year data. I guarantee you, you will not find any other research like this in the market with this kind of trending view. We love looking at the superpower users. These are the people who have 10 or more devices. And then the highlighted red chart there are the newbies. And you can see, you can barely tell on the chart, but that dark blue box is actually bigger than all of them. And that's where we get into that early majority group who is starting to come into the fray and really opening up this market to make it a lot bigger. But also the superpower and power users, those people with 5 or more devices, this is a really important area because those are the people who are going to be looking for a controller. They're going to look for the integration of the different devices and systems that they have in their home. And typically consumers are going out and stacking devices. People don't go out and buy 15 devices to start. They buy 2, they buy 3, and then they go out and buy more, and then they have a problem. And they need the controller. They need something to bring it all together. And that's where it can get really interesting for different players, including the home security players. And so that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about next is Parks Associates' view of the home security market and really the blurred lines that are coming in play between security and smart home as a result of some of the new players coming into market with single devices that can act as a security device. Some of these devices now have professional monitoring attached to them. So when we look at the home security market, we can tell you now that 41, and I think it's actually 42% because we might have one more quarter of data in there, but regardless, around that 40% own a security solution. A couple years back, Parks Associates changed our trending data within our questions because because of the blurred lines between a single device versus the system play. And so we would always start asking questions, do you have a device or a system? But because we have devices with professional monitoring now, those are competing with the systems. And so we had to do something we hate doing, which is breaking our trending data. And that's what happens when you ask questions differently over time. So we started out with the question of, do you have a security solution? Is it a device or a system? This is really important in how you're asking questions so that you don't double count different responses coming in from consumers. So you can see here that we've got 30% of households that have a security system, 11% with a device and no system. And out of all of those, we have 25% who are paying for professional monitoring. Some professional monitoring to the system, some professional monitoring to the device. All of this is changing the view of the market, including what our clients want to know about. And so that's one of the things that we've done to better assess the market. The security dealers, so one of the things we also do, in addition to asking consumers questions, is we do a security dealer study. So this is our 11th year with SSI to partner and ask dealers questions about what's going on, how they view the market. And one of the questions we ask is, what is the biggest driver for your business? And that top driver year over year for the past 3 years has been the customer's desire for smart home products. You can also see second there, the increasing crime rates, and third on the list and dropping is that household move. So smart home devices are literally the main driver for the home security market, which is why the smart home players should be paying attention to security and the security players should be paying attention to smart home. When we ask the dealers, what are you adding to the security system? This is what they tell us they're adding: the devices. There's the motion sensors, there's the cameras, the panel, the doorbell, the glass break, panic button, and it goes on and on here. So just to emphasize how important this market is, Parks Associates forecast that by 2025, there will be $13 billion in annual revenue coming from the professional security monitored market. These monitoring fees come in not just from the security system, but also all of those incremental revenues that can get added on, these value added services where you can add $2.99 a month per camera. You add 5 cameras outside, and now you have an additional chunk of change on the RMR monthly. So this is something we're tracking very, very closely. We love the security market. If you want to talk about this, we've got lots more research to share. On the energy side, consumers really are willing to invest. This is a slower market in a lot of ways because the utility players, which are highly regulated, are very much involved. But consumers tell us they're willing to invest, that they already are actively working to reduce the consumption. And, they would like to use less energy, but they don't know how. We also see this showing up in this perception of savings. And so right now we're tracking smart thermostat adoption at 16% of all households, and the majority telling us that, or about half saying that they have as much savings or more than they expected. And so these are great numbers for smart thermostat manufacturers to be able to tout. And we actually show that consumers tell us that they save about $45 a month because of their thermostat. That's what they tell us they save. And if you do the math, you get to hundreds of dollars in a year. Not only are they willing to pay for the hardware to help control their energy, they're also willing to pay for services. And this is really where the money's at, right? All the money is locked up in the RMR. And so we see these different opportunities for energy management services and consumers who want to have a real-time understanding and tracking of their energy usage and spending, as well as that opportunity for maintenance. Okay, I'm going to move on to some of the growth areas that we're seeing. Certainly healthcare, very, very complicated. very, very slow. You might have read how a lot of companies are going out of business because they can't figure out the business model. And I'd say that's probably exactly what's happening. Timing can be hard, and the adoption of all this stuff and the integration with legacy systems that healthcare providers have is a challenge for the market. It's something that we're looking at closely, but absolutely we see sensor-based technology getting infused everywhere, and that this is going to be a main component of consumers' healthcare lives is the technology that is helping them better understand where they're at and potentially be able to share that information with their doctors. Also be able to watch out for other people, loved ones, older adults, people who are chronically ill and may need extra help. Technology plays an incredible role there. So that is something that we certainly will be watching closely as the years move on. In the sorry if I was off there. In the multifamily space, about 30 million households, about a third of consumers live in the multifamily environment. And so this data is actually not consumer research. This is research from property managers and building owners. So we surveyed about 300 building owners, property managers, and we asked them, if you are providing smart home devices in your units for your residents, how much money, what's the cost equation here? What's the economic impact? And you can see that increased rental fees there are in the 5 to 30% mark. We've got reducing costs, increasing operating efficiency, lowering insurance. I mean, there's so many good reasons for technology in these buildings, and certainly the insurance play is going to be a big one as well in the future. So if you're not looking at multifamily, this is something to consider. It's a long play. These are big investments, and those investments take time to play out. So it is not a fast ROI, and the environment is a little tricky to navigate because the retrofit market, all these buildings they're built in different eras and different regions, and they're all unique in how they're approached with that influx of technology. So the rural or tier 2 and tier 3 broadband areas, this is a big deal because we've got so much being invested by our governments in getting connectivity out to these smaller markets. And a lot of the connectivity going out there is fiber and gig services. So 15% of all households have 1 gig service across the US. And a lot of those fall in the rural market because they built out the fiber earlier than doing cable. So with COVID, we're going to continue to see, that movement and shift occurred back then. And now we're seeing people actually buy second homes more than move. And of course, that continuation of remote work where there's going to be a demand for broadband and connectivity. Also, the SMB market, I mentioned this earlier. We just did a study this past year of 1,000 small to medium businesses with 100 people or less. And in that study, we found out all sorts of different things about how small to medium businesses are making decisions about their technology, how they're procuring it, what different services they want. And so I tried to pull out just a couple things here in one chart where the top 5 likely related purchases for security and safety in the next 6 months are listed there: cameras, security systems, door locks, smoke detectors, and doorbells. But look at these additional technology services. And again, the keyword is services, right? That's where the money's at. So in thinking about what's coming, smart Wi-Fi, energy management, video services, that Wi-Fi extension, and even the cyber services, these are all of critical importance to small to medium businesses. So this is definitely an area we would recommend looking at if you're looking for areas to grow to. Overall, though, there is just slow and steady growth in the smart home space. That's how we've always seen it. I get questions all the time for a hockey stick view. And frankly, we just don't have that for the smart home space. We don't see that as how it's going to grow. It will be slow and steady, but we'll continue to see these various catalysts for growth, including the tech giants, the different devices in the home, the consumer expectation for technology, that ability to install certain devices on their own and then add to that device with device stacking, and the continued advancements in video, where video technology is going to continue to be pervasive throughout the smart home. Also, just having to note, so you know what some of these barriers are, and in your messaging, if you're in the smart home, the value proposition, why people need this stuff, why they want to pay. Also, price is a barrier, and of course, privacy and security is always at the top in terms of that unwillingness to buy these products. I have just 2 more slides. I want to emphasize that trust is the bedrock of any relationship. Trust is critical. If you are providing services or products to consumers, if you're providing products or services in business, if you have any relationship, it is 100% built off of trust. And so this is a really important chart here in understanding who is considered a trustworthy company to manage all this data for the consumer. And you see those security system providers at the top, followed by the ISPs, the mobile phone providers. And then you can get to the bottom, which is the manufacturer of smart home products. So this is important to recognize that support, integration, compatibility, interoperability, all of these things play into that trusted brand partnership that consumers have when they're looking to buy products. Finally, we will see billions and billions of dollars in savings. And I like this visual because it really sums up what we see with safety and security, home services, the different markets, and the role that insurance is going to play, with the foundation being along the broadband connection, Wi-Fi, and of course, that important role of the network. And so as you're thinking forward, I think it's still early. There is a lot happening with devices and insurance, but that's going to take some time to really play out. But that is certainly coming soon. So my final and last slide is to just invite you all to join us at Connection Summit at CES. We'll be hosting our 18th annual event. We're a very proud and thankful partner of CTA's in this conference, and it's a great event. We have a reception that happens at 5:30, and would love all of you to join us. Lastly, I'm happy to answer any questions, and if you need research, please think of us, or marketing support, events, activities as well. We're happy to help in that way.
Thank you, Elizabeth. There are quite a few questions in the chat, so I don't know if it's easiest for me to read those to you.
Marta, do you want to organize the chat questions, and then Charlie can present
Well, I
them?
think, Charlie, maybe we can begin with the Q&A box. We have one person, Samit Johar, who asked a question, and then we can get into, if you want to read off the chat questions. I'll leave that up to you, Charlie.
Sure. Elizabeth, so Samit asked, is the standardization of a common protocol across all smart home devices, such as IP, considered a hindrance, or is it no longer a challenge?
Well, I'd say that's still a challenge in some different ways. The standards game is in play and alive. We do see that consumers care about their products working together, and we've even started asking specifically about the Matter standard and whether that matters to consumers, and they tell us it does. So.
Okay, and there were a few questions in the chat related, talking about what you see as the most popular protocols between Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Z-Wave, and somebody asked the question on whether Matter matters.
Sure. So as far as what's most popular, I'm not sure I have the right, I'm not sure I have that answer. I would say that different communication protocols are used for different reasons, and there's strengths and weaknesses of different protocols that get leveraged for certain environments, and usually that's the reason behind them. As far as 5G devices, I don't think I have a good answer for that, so I'll pass on that question. I could find out from our team though. As far as Matter, you know, any other comments on Matter? We track Matter pretty closely in the sense of following what the CSA is doing as well as what the manufacturers are doing, and we're not too surprised by how it's going in the sense that, you know, you're having to embed new technology into hardware to make things work, and it was never going to be anything overnight or even in a year. Any kind of standard like that across, you know, maybe 80 product categories and thousands of companies is certainly going to take a while to develop and work. And so I think CSA is probably making pretty fast progress if you compare it to other standards and standard initiatives. These things usually take a very long time to roll out. So we do think Matter is important, but we don't think that other companies are going to stop doing whatever they're doing, right? And if you watch what the companies are doing, and there's a lot of them to watch, they're going in on Matter, and then they're doing other things too that are curious, right? Because the other things may not align with the Matter initiative, but they're still doing them. So from that angle, you know, people seem to be covering all their bases.
Yeah, there was a follow-up question from Rich, and it was something that I was thinking as well. I think, you know, many of us that are on the call here are on the manufacturing side and are building products, and we understand the importance of Matter and what the benefits are to the consumer. The question that Rich had is, you know, do consumers know, or do you get a sense for whether they know what Matter is, or is it just one of those things where the advertising of Matter to consumers just isn't happening?
Well, I don't think Matter is being advertised much. When we ask consumers about Matter, we ask them specifically about a mark. If you saw a mark or an icon that indicates that products would work together, interoperable, you know, without a problem, you know, would that play into your purchase decision? And then you have highly likely, you know, in fact, I think we just put a press release out about it yesterday. So we didn't say, do you know Matter and what do you think about Matter? Because you're right, they don't know that, but they do understand things like Energy Star, right? If you see that Energy Star icon, you know you're ending up saving money. And so we explain it in that way. If you see this icon and it means this, does that play into your purchase decision when you're buying products? And they tell us yes, in some ways.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, another one that's interesting from Walt here. Do you think that consumers are growing weary of everything moving to subscription services? And if so, do you think that there's going to be some kind of consolidation so that instead of having 10 different subscriptions for all these disparate things, it kind of comes in as a single subscription?
You know, that question about subscription fatigue comes up a lot. And I mean, we don't really see that. I mean, consumers right now, it's interesting because we're talking about security and smart home, but we track the streaming and OTT markets too. And we're showing, I think it's 28% of consumers, of households are paying for 9 or more streaming services. That's 1 in 4 households are paying for 9 or more streaming services. That's a lot of services to pay for. In fact, it adds up to more than the cable bills. So I think that the unbundling that's happened is happening everywhere. People are getting accustomed to. And in fact, I was talking to somebody, we're hosting a multifamily session for a Smart Spaces event tomorrow. And the building property owner person was telling me about how they're basically unbundling multifamily rents, and then they're billing it in an amenity fee with these added service subscriptions. And so it's there's a lot of things happening with services, and we do not see consumers having a problem paying for this stuff right now, at all. Now, younger generations, you know, they think everything is free. So that's going to be a little challenging, I think. I mean, even my 14-year-old son came to me the other day to buy something. It was $23. And he's like, no, Mom, it's free. And I said, what are you talking about? He's like, look at these 7 things I get for free because I bought this. You know, so there is a mindset thing that's happening with the younger generations, and that will be interesting to watch play out.
Great, thank you. A few more. I think we're almost up on time. One is you talked a lot about the security integrators and how they're starting to get involved in some of these other technologies. Do you see those traditional style security systems on the decline and being replaced by DIY stuff, or even just having cameras displacing those traditional style security systems?
I don't know if I'd say displacing. The DIY market has expanded the security market overall, and we have all the data that shows that expansion has been happening, and the devices really tee up the consumer for a system and a fuller experience. So I don't believe that traditional security systems are on the decline. I think traditional security systems are evolving, and they are including a lot more interactivity that can get the RMR higher. So the growth in security right now isn't going to be in the number of subscribers. It's going to be in the RMR per subscriber, because you're upselling your base customers. So that's my answer for that.
Okay, so would that mean that, you know, I guess the traditional ones, you know, ADT, for example, you're paying a certain amount per month, or is what you're saying that the traditional ones where you were just paying a fee for security monitoring, maybe that number isn't growing, but they're getting services across a greater number of products, so the overall RMR is increasing?
Yes, 75% of all professional monitored security households have interactivity with them that's beyond just the alarm. So, you know, an ADT system is a completely different experience than just a camera. And I think that's what the security players are really leaning into, is they're becoming home experience providers, home services companies that extend much further beyond just safety and security.
Got it. Okay, looks like one more, and I think we've gotten through all of them. The question was, and I think this was related to when you were talking about multifamily and adding technology. So we're adding technology, reducing the cost of operation. Why is the rent prices increasing?
Well, there's a lot of costs that go along with maintaining this technology that's getting added in, and everything is ongoing. So the financial model for the investors and the building owners is completely different when you talk about a static door lock versus a connected, you know, access control point that has an app attached to it for your residents. So there's all sorts of additional costs. I mean, even just like the security providers, if they're going to add additional service options for their customers, they have to be able to support those. And so the support costs that go along with all the technology being infused in, there's also a lot of upfront costs to make things work from the beginning. And that enables well, the operators need to increase the rents. Also, they are differentiating their property with technology so they can increase their rents. I mean, consumers expect to pay more if they have a smart thermostat. They see it as an upgrade.
Okay, great. I think that is it. Really appreciate you spending time and going through this. I think there was a question whether the presentation was going to be made available, and I think this recording will be on the CHC website on ASHB.com or ASHB.org by tomorrow, I think is what you had mentioned, Marta.
Yes, it'll be up on our website, ashb.com/CHC.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks again, Elizabeth. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate the invitation.
Elizabeth, this is Ken Wax. Thank you again for a quality presentation. As always, Parks Associates packs so much into every presentation I've attended. There's a lot to learn there. Thank you. Moving on, ASHB exists to provide information for practitioners in the home and building industries. And I want to just review some of the methods we have to deliver information to you. First of all, we have our research journal, the ASHB Journal, which is available at ashb.com under research. You'll find the journal where we invite anyone to write an article. We don't really limit the length. You can include graphics, you can include illustrations. ASHB and the predecessor organization, CABA, have a long history of publishing original research materials that goes back to the founding of the organization more than 30 years ago, starting with the CABA Quarterly, and then iHomes and Buildings, and now the CABA Journal, and the ASHB Journal. So I invite you to take a look at the research. I've been, I'm not just speaking as an advertisement, I'm speaking as someone who puts the effort where my recommendation is. I've been writing for the ASHB Journal and its predecessors almost since inception. Every few months I write something, so I encourage you to do likewise. We also do original papers. We don't have any in the pipeline right now, but if any of you would like to do a collaborative paper, we can facilitate that through the Connected Home Council. We would typically have maybe a lead author and up to 5 co-authors. Looking for a more of a tutorial or an introductory paper of 5 to 10 pages on a topic that is of interest in this community. If you'd like to do that, please contact Marta or me, and we will organize it in your behalf. And lastly, we have the Publications Review Committee of ASHB, where we cull papers from other publications and post them on the CABA website together with a critique. We vet every paper that we post to make sure that it's current, that it's relevant, that it's not just an advertorial. So, if you would like to be a reviewer and fill out this form, we will actually give you a little perk in the form of $25 plus a $25 cash plus $25 credit towards ASHB publications and services. So check out the Publications Review Committee. There are thousands of papers that have been reviewed and vetted and cataloged by keywords, so you can search for papers on a particular topic. Any interest in participating, contact Marta or me. To reach me, just go to my website, kenwacks.com, KENWACKS.com, and you'll find my contact data, phone number, and email. So, Marta, do you want to describe now the ASHB podcasts?
I would love to. This will be a quick one regarding our podcasts. We originally had intended on releasing every quarter. We would do 2 on the residential, 2 on the intelligent buildings, but it's become quite, it's gaining a lot of momentum. We're releasing approximately once a month now. And we're always looking for hosts and guests. If you'd like to do one episode or several or multi-part episodes, there's a lot of flexibility and movement in these. And essentially, it's really on any topic within the smart home or the smart building landscape. If you are interested, please feel free to reach out to us. We have our email on the screen there, admin@ashb.com. We could set up a quick call just to give you a quick rundown of how it works and how the recording works and the releases. And I do want to mention that with these podcasts, we do quite a bit of promotional work. We have our, we send out our email marketing campaigns as well as our social media promotion. So there's a bit of a promotional aspect to it. The actual content of the recording is educational in value, so worth noting. And if you are looking to explore some of the recently recorded episodes, you could visit our website, ashb.com, and there you'll be able to use a drop-down menu that'll take you to our podcasts. And with that, I will pass it back to Ken for new business.
Well, now's the opportunity for any of you listening to tell us about new activities, business that is of interest to the connected home community. Elizabeth did tell you that she is hosting a series of meetings at the Consumer Electronics Show that would be relevant to our community on January 9th. For those that will be in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show, please consider seeing that. It's usually held at the Venetian locale. So any other new business people would like to apprise us of? Any suggestions for webinars? Any suggestions for papers? Well, please forward your ideas to Marta and to me, and we will move forward with them. And now I'll turn to Charlie for announcements.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. Just announcements have to do with some events that are coming up. Elizabeth had mentioned some of the ones that Parks Associates is doing. So tomorrow, a virtual event for smart spaces, basically technology for apartments, hospitality, and community living. Ken had mentioned CES. So that's in January, the 9th through the 12th in Las Vegas. And as you mentioned, Parks Associates will have a full day of meetings, the Connection Summit on the 9th. And then the last one, IoT Evolution Conference and Expo, that's in Fort Lauderdale during the month of February. So if you're interested in seeing what's the latest in IoT devices, there's a good chance you'll find it there, not to mention CES.
And Charlie, Elizabeth just posted an invite for those going to the Consumer Electronics Show, not only to attend the presentations during the day on the 9th, but to attend a reception afterwards.
I see that. Yep, there you go. Excellent.
And she has just posted that you're all invited to participate virtually in the Smart Spaces presentation tomorrow at no charge.
Fantastic. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Well,
back to you, Ken.
Our next meeting now is scheduled for February 2024. We will announce the specific date. There are, by the way, I know Elizabeth is scheduling the Smart Energy Summit in conjunction with Distributech to be held towards the end of February. So we'll have to make sure our CHC meeting does not conflict with that.
Will do, Ken.
So unless there's any last minute news anyone wants to bring forward, I want to thank you all for participating in this quarterly meeting of the Connected Home Council of ASHB, and look forward to gathering again in 3 months. Meanwhile, wish you happy holidays, happy New Year, and see you in the early part of next year. Thank you, Marta.
Thank you all.